Hello, class. This is my final project. This is Logan. He is my subject, and I'm going to ask him questions now. What preparations do you typically make before visiting abandoned places?
Try to bring flashlight, try to bring warm clothes when it's cold weather. I always try to make sure we kind of are familiar with the area we're going to. Always try to bring friends, never go to abandoned places alone. I would say those are the base preparations.
And what do you typically expect to experience and see?
Depends. This one's a bit spookier, to be quite honest, but just fun exploring, to be honest. It's always nice to kind of go places, look at things with friends, so.
Alright. And how much effort do you put into going to these places? I know you said you drive around West Virginia. Do you do that other places?
I've driven, the longest drive I've taken is Tennessee to explore the abandoned places, so I put some big effort in.
Lots of effort.
For some of them.
Why?
It's fun, to be honest with you. You can't really see this stuff anywhere else. You know, you don't get the opportunities to kind of see what things used to look like or things what they could have been. Like, this building's probably, as you can see, probably was over 150 years old. So, I mean, this is something you do not see every single day.
Walk us through a typical outing. So after you've prepared, you've gathered your friends, you found your location. What happens after?
Well, we get there and everything. We make sure that, you know, we're not going to bother anyone. We have to make sure that there's not going to be anyone that's going to bother us per se. Honestly, us bothering people might not be the biggest concern. And just making sure that everyone's safe, making sure that everyone's ready, making sure that no one gets hurt. Always watch where you're kind of going. Bring flashlights too. That's one of the biggest things, especially when you get deeper into these places. They can get dark. Obviously, as they're abandoned, they don't have light. Especially now in the current season and time, it gets dark pretty fast over here. So.
Alrighty. What were some of your favorite experiences in Virginia?
In Virginia, so we actually went to an abandoned coal mine one time. Was down there for about 7 hours. Absolutely freezing cold, but it honestly was one of the coolest things. My buddy actually took a pickaxe from there that was old as hell, and he still has it in his room right now.
Do you take things often from abandoned places?
I try not to technically, because it's technically not mine, but at the same time, I will admit, if I see something really cool or interesting, I will usually keep it as a keepsake.
Why? What makes that place like your favorite experience?
Well, I went with two of my best friends. That definitely made it more fun. And so me personally with the coal mine, my great grandfather is from West Virginia. They all used to work in the coal mines. So for me, it was kind of just like I got to genuinely see what their life was like on a 8 to 12-hour basis every single day for a long time.
It's like surreal.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Period. So exploring is kind of like a social aspect to you.
No, absolutely. I mean, you can get tons of friends as long as you guys are safe and doing it correctly and properly. It can be a really fun time, honestly. You just have to make sure you're not bothering anyone, not trying to break too many laws. Technically, I guess it is technically trespassing in some cases, but it's usually fun.
Are there any major differences in exploring in Virginia compared to Ohio?
Exploring in Ohio is the biggest thing is it's more city-like in Ohio, so you definitely have to be more concerned with people and obviously police sometimes to explore. In West Virginia, realistically, most of those places, cops don't patrol, and a lot of those places are so far out in the middle of nowhere that when I say they're abandoned, there's nothing within a 2-3 mile radius. So you really can never really bother people over there. So you can explore, you can bring speakers and blast music and have a great time over there for much longer periods of time without having to be concerned.
It's very different. Have you ever experienced an issue with the police or somebody in the building?
In the buildings, I have ran into 2 homeless people. Never issues though. Literally one of them just said hi and then went back to his day, and the other one was sleeping. So we didn't bother him. We kind of just let him be there. And then police-wise, one time we had a cop find us, but he wasn't mad, didn't even do anything. Literally was like, hey, you guys can't be here. Kindly leave. Always kindly leave. Don't try to fight a cop. You are trespassing. But as long as you're just respectful to the police, when that situations happen, you're pretty good most times.
Okay. Let's go to the church. We're going to church. Okay. What are your first thoughts? What is your reaction?
It's beautiful, to be honest with you. Especially as I am a religious person. This is something that you really do not see, especially with a lot of new modern day churches. I'm not saying they're not, like, obviously it's still a church, but these churches are not built the same way they used to be built. They used to be built very aesthetically with the glass mirrors and everything like that. And if you look around with the flash on every night, this is beautiful. people. You do not see this every single day. Quite honestly, you really don't see this in 90% of churches you go to. It's fun in here. It's definitely much better views than I thought it was going to be.
How does it make you feel?
Feel? Honestly, kind of a part of me at home, just with that religious thing, and also I have a lot of family up here in Cleveland. So I'm very comfortable here. It's very nice.
Do you think you can get that feeling with a lot of abandoned places, or is this specific to that because it's a church and it's in Cleveland?
Definitely, it's not all places make you feel the way I feel here. Just the close to home vibe, just the feeling of how beautiful everything looks, how great everything looks, and even with it being abandoned for, you said, what, almost 70 years now?
I think.
There's still some of the stuff that looks absolutely stunning. Some of the mirrors are obviously broken, but you can still see the absolute great decal at the top. The tile at the top is borderline untouched. Some of the tiles, they look absolutely stunning. Besides, there's not quote-unquote clean.
What did you immediately notice? What was the first thing you saw?
When we came in, probably that lovely 6-foot drop right there. That was definitely probably the first thing I noticed. Definitely was a little interesting to look at. The second, everything else was kind of, like I said, just with the way churches used to be built. The moment I came in here, it looks stunning, honestly. I can kind of, a part of you can kind of sit back and imagine, like, 80 years ago, what this would have looked like, especially with some of this stuff. You can kind of see what it used to look like before all the graffiti and all the dust, all the dirt and everything like that. It's a very beautiful thing to look at, honestly, and kind of imagine what it used to be.
Is this like a similar place? Does it give you a similar feeling to other places you've been to?
Honestly, this one's actually a little special. I've visited a lot of abandoned churches and everything like that, but this is, I would say maybe possibly the oldest church actually I've ever visited that's abandoned, especially one that is genuinely in condition like this. Most abandoned buildings do get pretty worn down. And for being 70-some years abandoned, this is the fact that it's still standing and looks the way it does is honestly amazing.
Yeah, I personally think the feeling you get when you come in here the first time I experienced it, was like indescribable.
Oh, absolutely. It's you can look up and it's 40 feet of just openness. It's beautiful.
It's lovely. This is my favorite place I've been to. So, we are in a very bad part of Cleveland, arguably one of the worst, according to the internet. If you had known that coming in, because I didn't tell you that, would it have changed your mind?
No, honestly, I don't think so. It definitely, I will admit, definitely would have brought some concerns or anything like that. But the thing is, like I said with the earlier part, it's, you bring friends, you bring equipment, obviously you're smart with things, you bring things to protect yourself in case you need to. And you just don't be, the biggest thing is you just honestly don't be foolish when you are visiting places like this. You don't go in with zero planning. You definitely do not go in by yourself. As the biggest trick with exploring any abandoned place, you do not go by yourself. And it's not for the endangerment of yourself, it's just genuinely there's so many things that can go wrong. Example, if one of us were to walk in that and someone fell, when they first walked in, if you are by yourself, that is a terrible situation to be in. But if there's 3 other people here, we can easily get someone out of there, get help if need be. There's so many things that can go wrong, genuinely, when abandoning stuff.
Does location typically prevent you from going somewhere, or has it never stopped you before?
It's only stopped me one time, and that was just because my buddy wanted to go to a place in New York, and I am, just with the cities and how some of the life is over there, that was the one I declined. But in most of the situations, it's just, as long as everything's planned properly, you're good.
Towns with, reputations of high crime, you wouldn't go there?
Definitely be cautious, and I would definitely be extremely careful if you go in those places. I will say, if you genuinely are sitting there, and even a few people that are in your group are sitting there being like, hey man, so this might not be the best idea, listen to them. Make sure everyone's comfortable, make sure everyone's good, and you always have to be safe.
What do you think the biggest risk is?
I mean, obviously getting caught is the technical biggest risk, but honestly, I would say it's honestly just endangering yourself to any physical risk. Especially abandoned places, the more years go by, things deteriorate, you will never know. I mean, you could step anywhere in here, you could hit one thing, and things could fall, things could collapse. That's just the risk that you kind of have to realize, so always be careful when walking around.
If you see like the carpeted area, all the dips in it,
Oh,
if
absolutely.
you step on that, you probably will fall through. My next question, follow me everybody. If you look around any abandoned building, you'll find lots of this, lots of alcohol. What are your thoughts on exploring under the influence?
It's honestly one of the stupidest things to do. Just to be very straight up. It's obviously kids and sometimes adults, you never really know. They want to go out, they want to have fun, they want to find like secluded places to do it. But truthfully, there is better places. Let's say someone drinks too much and they aren't thinking straight, or that they're not really focused on their movements. Like Kat said, one person drinks too many and takes one wrong step, and that is a very bad situation.
Okay, that is all for the church. This is our next location. It is the school that was associated with this church, the one we were just in. But it's really scary and I'm scared. So we are in the first room of the school. If you'd like to look over there, you can see through the doorways, you cannot see anything. There could be anyone on the other side of each of these doorways, and that is scary to me. But we came through the windows because the floor is caved in, and now we will go in, but someone else can go first. As you can tell, you cannot see anything at all, except for in there. We'll get there. That was the door we were supposed to come in, but it's really broken. So this is the hallway, the main hallway. Horrifying. They boarded it up, actually. It was not like that last time I was here. Huh. So clearly, we are in the abandoned school. How does this one make you feel?
This one's a bit different for sure. Lots more dangers in this one. You can definitely tell a lot more activity in this one, to be honest with you. Graffiti is literally everywhere in this place. Genuinely everywhere in this place. There's the big drop right there. There's literally an open door that leads to wherever that door is supposed to go to right there. You really do have to watch your step in this one. The church definitely had its dangers, but this is it's great, don't get me wrong. It's a very, very fun thing to look at. It's my first time in either one of these places, but this is definitely one of those you have to be careful with.
So, do you think this place has the same sort of power to have meaning like the church did to you?
Yes and no. There's definitely not the personal touch, but you have to think about it when there was probably thousands of kids that all went to this school. We don't know where, obviously we don't know where these people are, but we found some stuff that said 80s, and that would mean these people are probably in their 30s, 40s right now. So there's a lot of people out in the world that came to this place at one point, and this meant thousands of memories. I mean, everyone knew school was life, we made memories, made friends, and this probably holds a lot of power to a lot of people.
So what does an abandoned place have to have in order to give meaning to you?
A lot of it's personal connection. If you're from the area, if you have experiences in any building like that, like church compared to religion, or like school compared to if you went to school, coal mines, or any abandoned place. You go to an abandoned hospital, and let's say your parents work in a hospital, something like that. There's tons of personal connections that can all be made in smaller abandoned places. This is definitely one of those we have to think about it when there's teachers, kids, staff, janitors, sports teams, other rivals, other school events, parents that came to the school with their kids. So this place has probably touched tens, if not tens of thousands of people's lives at some point or another.
So the location here, it's in the middle of a neighborhood. If you look out those windows, we are surrounded by houses. So do you think this place has a deeper meaning to these people?
Everywhere in the world there's always places like this. I mean, if you look around here, there's a high chance that there are multiple people all around this house at some point that went to the school, or their kids might have gone to the school. And for them, that could be a bad thing, to be honest with you, because they have to look at it where it's like, oh my God, all my memories were made in this building, and this is what it looks like now. So
now there's people making meth in your classroom.
Very true.
Somebody
Told you.
was making meth in here. This is used to make meth.
Walter White.
That's used to make meth.
Oh.
And they think this thing, I don't know what it is.
So you put a candle below it, light it, and then you can put it on top. It's how a lot of unfortunate homeless people or people trying to obviously get a high off things that aren't actual meth. That is
Cool.
the way to do it. You're just like,
Nice.
Hey, how you doing?
Meh. So, do you think the meaning that these abandoned places give you, is that a reason why you like to explore so much?
Honestly, I would say that's a big part of it. That and just the fact of just kind of seeing what things used to look like. Personally, I'm a bigger fan of old-fashioned things. You go to a diner that was made in 2023 and you go to a diner that was made in the 60s, you can easily tell the difference between the two. I think the 60s and all that older generational stuff, it looks better. It was made to last. I don't want to say more aesthetically pleasing because obviously we have tons of, to me it was more aesthetically pleasing, but there's a lot more things nowadays that you can more easily make aesthetically pleasing things. But for some reason people don't choose to. You won't find a school that looked like this. I mean, name how many schools had a whole entire upward lamp just chilling in one of their classrooms? I'll tell you right now, mine did not. So it's a beautiful thing to look at, to be honest with you. This is honestly, I am liking this one almost as much as the church, just because of the size of this one and all the memories that were possibly made during this one.
Okay. So it's more of like a curiosity aspect.
Curiosity and just appreciating what things used to be.
Period. Okay, let's go. I'm scared.
Let's get out of here.
This is the observatory. It is very dark. Thank you. Yay! Alright, so we're in the abandoned observatory. If you look up, this is the telescope room. This is where the telescope used to be. And if you look at the walls, there's graffiti everywhere. This is a very well-known, popular spot. I think this is my 5th time here. So people come here all the time. How do you feel here?
This one's definitely not as spooky as the other two for sure. It's honestly a bit more open. The graffiti here is insane, I will say. Literally later through the whole entire place, it is like a graffiti art wall everywhere in this building. And it's actually kind of cool because I mean, people don't think about it. Yes, graffiti is illegal and it's a bad thing by technicality, but genuinely everything here tells a story. Now, yes, there is some stuff that is probably should not be written or graffiti on walls, but I mean, some stuff is not terrible. I mean, some people genuinely just come here to put nice, genuine things that just mean something to them. So it's not like the other ones, but I like this one. It's very nice. And honestly, I've never actually technically been to an observatory, I will say, so this is my first time visiting one of these.
So is the graffiti the first thing you noticed, or is there anything else?
Honestly, when we first came in, the first floor, the big room was kind of the first thing I noticed. I definitely did not think it would be such a large capsule. And then honestly, the amount of places we're exploring this one I did not expect. I didn't really know what I was going to come into this one. But there's a lot of cool things you can explore in this one for sure.
The basement, I think there are 4 floors to this place. The basement has a lot of secret little tunnels and rooms. I don't like going down there, but we went. There was a noose, and we left. So now we're up here. I will not be going back down there, so no videos. Sorry. Have you ever been to an abandoned place that did not have graffiti on it?
No, I will note this is probably one of the, if not the most graffiti thing. You can put your hand on this and genuinely feel the levels and layers of graffiti. Like, this is not the original graffiti, if I would have to guess. I would assume there's probably 13 other things below these.
Do you share your locations? I know a lot of people don't because they don't want them to become overcrowded or ruined.
I share most of the ones I visited. I will admit there are a few, especially back over in West Virginia, that I do not tell anyone. They're just, some of the places aren't as damaged, aren't as messed up, and I prefer to keep it that way, especially because I have a lot of family over there, so I really prefer those to kind of stay as untouched as they can be.
Yes. Some people ask you, what do? You just say no? Or do you lie?
I try not to. I just tell them like straight up, like, some people have actually told straight up, it's like, hey, I'm just not comfortable sharing the location, or I know sometimes there's a few abandoned places I've visited that my friends technically own the property to, their family owns the lands too still, but the place itself is abandoned. Just out of mutual respect for them, I don't share the location. But if it's something that is worth sharing and is worth kind of, that I know that they can't damage any further than it already is, then I have no issue sharing locations for sure.
Would you share these locations that we went to today?
Yeah, probably. I mean, the church, obviously, as I said, they had the pros and cons of letting people go in there, but that one seems like it had been pretty kind of gone through already,
Yeah.
so it's wouldn't do much damage to it.
Do you see other people, like other explorers, often?
Yeah, it's all over the place. There's sometimes I've gone and been in a place for hours and not a single soul, and then there's others where I've been in for 30 minutes and somehow 6 groups have just come and gone during the time.
Yeah, this place is the only place I've ever seen another explorer at. So for the graffiti, we are going to graffiti. Are you excited?
I kind of am, honestly. I haven't done it in a little bit just since I've had a good location to do it. So I'm excited to kind of just put something down there.
Obviously, nothing wrong. Of course, keep it clean, guys.
Period. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh my god.
This is here from the last time. It is my Instagram handle. It survived. All right, now that we are done, I do want to mention again that I've been to these places multiple times. I am an abandoned building repeater. Do you go to the same places often, or do you just do like a one and done?
This is the amount of them I've gone to a couple times, and I would say there's a handful that I honestly do, like not like regular visits per se, but like every couple months or at least once a year.
Why? Why do you visit them often?
A few of them are just like I've had experiences at them, just like fun ones with buddies and all that stuff, and we just go back honestly every once in a while. Sometimes we'll just like go out some fun or something like that, but and some of them have memories, to be honest.
Have you experienced like paranormal activity or any like creepy ghosty stuff?
Not specifically. My buddies have had some apparently when I've been with them and scared the absolute crap out of me, and I have ran with them, but myself no. We were at a abandoned prison. It was in Tennessee. We're in the basement, and we all kind of like do this thing where we split up for fun. We all have cameras, by the way. We're all on the phone, and we go. It's a big prison. All go different ways, and it's probably 1, 2 in the morning. All I hear is my buddy screaming. He is so far from me, and I hear him through the hall screaming, acting like this dude's about to be killed. Apparently he saw something that spooked him so loud enough that he had to scare the bejesus out of everyone else. That was a fun time because we were really excited to be there for like an hour, straight to the car. He refused to be in the building. So he was honestly like, genuinely spooked. He genuinely asked to leave. Like, and that's, I've gone exploring with that dude a lot of times. He does not do that.
Do you see a lot of like dead animals? Like, do you experience death a lot?
Not exactly. I mean, we have like dead mice and just rats and stuff like that. The only big, I saw one big creature one time. It was a dead deer, literally, but it was like tucked on a bed in a basement. So I didn't really know how I felt about that, to be quite honest with you. That counts as a dead creature, but that was likely placed there instead of dying there, so I don't really know how that one was.
One time we were at a house in the middle of nowhere, and the garage reeked of death. It smelled of straight death. The worst vibes ever. I've never been to a place with like horrible. That's where I got my pictures from this house. Let me find it.
Polaroids from the house that reeks of death. There's their sheep, their cows, a car that I liked. Fairyland Caverns, because duh.
These are my little artifacts. These are the only artifacts I have. Why don't those deter you from exploring, knowing you could see scenes like that or experience?
I try not to be honest, I try not to let the one off or inconvenient situation put off the 100 good experiences. That's kind of how I look at it. I've been out so many different times, and it happens, obviously, but that can just happen when you're walking around, not even going on urban exploring. You can just be walking around downtown and see something like that. So, for how many good times I have versus the very few bad, it outweighs everything.
Bigger, deeper meaning does exploring hold for you, if there is one?
Just learning, honestly, seeing how, I know I've repeated that a few times, but just seeing how different cultures and different time periods and different people and places in totally different times, totally different situations. People don't realize the world changes every 5-10 years, like insanely. Honestly, every single year it changes insanely. So when you just see all these different, like, oh yeah, this place was built in the 40s during this time by these groups of people that were in this situation, like, you have to appreciate things for what they are. It's just a learning thing for me, honestly. It's just a big, just absorbing thing for me.
What do you enjoy most about it? The learning?
Definitely the learning, and just honestly, it's a good excuse to go and hang out with friends. Don't get caught by the cops.
Just don't get arrested.
Don't get arrested.
If you got arrested, do you think you'd still explore? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Would you recommend doing this to anybody else, making this a hobby?
100%, honestly. Honestly, as I get older, I plan to make it, honestly, a bigger hobby. There's so many different things around the world that I really want to go explore. And some abandoned things aren't even quote-unquote bad or illegal to go to. They're literally open for public sighting. Like, yo, this was made 2,000 years ago, and you can see this. So it's just a good thing.
Do you have tips to people who are just starting out or who want to?
Get at least one friend. I would always say the rule of thumb is you're usually going for 3 to 5 depending on the location. And make sure you have, think flashlights, think phones charged, because if something happens, people don't think about it. It's not like one of those like parental things like, oh, have your phone charged. It's if something goes wrong, because things can happen, you need to be able to have that access that has a flashlight, cameras, phone calls, text messages, everything.
Yeah.
There's so many different functions of it. And just make sure that you guys aren't doing stupid things. That's just the biggest thing. I mean,
be smart.
Yep. There's a lot of people, it's fun to them, and that is a very fair thing, and that it is a safer way to do it. But at the same time, you just, you have to think about the reality that you can get hurt when you do that. There's a lot of bad things that can happen.
Period. Any final comments on our adventure?
No, honestly, I didn't know I was coming to this till not too long ago, but I was honestly very excited. It was a great time. Very glad I was invited out.
Yay! The end. That's my final project. Bye. They've made a discovery. Men